Hello, everyone. Today we are going to be learning about what it takes to be the pharaoh and some of the pharaohs that are really important in ancient Egyptian society. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. So here is Lower Egypt up here and Upper Egypt up here. Um, if you're thinking about it, why is Upper Egypt below Lower Egypt? That's because of the way the Nile flows. We talked about that quite a bit. Now, when you think of Egypt, you're probably thinking of Lower Egypt. That's the spot with the pyramids and the Sphinx. But Upper Egypt has a lot going on for it. I wanted to use this background to show you how close the city of Giza is to the pyramids here. If you look too, that this is kind of green over here. This is where the Nile runs through. But the second you get to the desert, it is desert. So pharaohs. Pharaohs were the kings of Egypt. The word pharaoh was used by the Greeks and the Hebrews. The title pharaoh originated from the Greek language and is used in the Old Testament. The responsibilities of the pharaohs. Pharaohs ruled with absolute power. There were few, if any, challenged against the king. Absolute power meant you had complete authority to act in an area not restricted or restrained by supervision or review. So they could do anything they want. They could have everybody wear a t-shirt that said Mr. Bennett rocks every single day. Any king that attempted to radically change society would be seen as destroying Egyptian tradition and would be removed. Succession. To keep the pure line of succession, a pharaoh passed on the throne to the eldest son born of the principal queen or great royal wife. We will see that some of these pharaohs or kings have more than one wife, so the one that is the first wife or the one that's the most important will have their son will be the next pharaoh. Succession means the person that gets the job next. Each king was usually keen to demonstrate to his subjects that he was the chosen heir. They might have a lot of brothers and sisters, and they need to prove that they are the real pharaoh. The pharaoh owned all the land, people, and possessions in Egypt. Any personal wealth enjoyed by Egyptians was considered a result of the generosity of the king. So if you had a lot of money or you didn't have any money, either was a gift of the king. Major pharaohs. We're going to look at these guys. So there were some major pharaohs, and the main pharaohs that we're going to focus on. We have Menes, Hatshepsut, Akhenaten, Ramses II, Tutankhamun, and those are going to be the big ones that we're going to be looking at. Here are some of the pictures and some of the busts of them, but let's jump into it. So Menes, he ruled between this time. It's kind of hard to really pin down the exact time, but we know it was between one of these eras. He was the founding king of the first dynasty. So he was the first pharaoh to unify Upper and Lower Egypt into one kingdom. He is the ancient Egyptians formed civilization because of him. He is the reason there is an ancient Egypt. The way we think of Egypt is because of Menes. He created the city of Memphis because it was a good location. It was easy to defend against any attacks. Remember, he sets it next to the Nile so we can have river, water to irrigate our plants and crops, but he also has a desert on both sides of it to protect him from any attacks. During his reign, he expanded his kingdom and developed commercial trade links. Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut became queen of Egypt when she married her half-brother Thutmose II around the age of 12. Upon his death, she became acting as regent for her stepson, the infant Thutmose III, but later took on full powers of a pharaoh. A great achievement of her reign was a trading expedition she organized that brought back vast riches, including ivory, ebony, gold, leopard skins, and incense to Egypt from a distant land known as Punt. So this is really cool because men and women could both have the title of pharaoh and run the kingdom of Egypt. Pretty cool. Akhenaten. Original name was Amenhotep IV. He wanted to change the Egyptian supreme god from Amon-Ra to Aten. So he wanted to take the main god that they had. It would be like taking Zeus and replacing it for Poseidon. Therefore, he changed his name to Akhenaten, which means he who serves Aten. He also built a city called Akhenaten. And this is the first attempt to radically change the Egyptian religion. So continuing about him. His wife was Nefertiti. She was known for being one of the most beautiful women in history. She's actually used in a lot of beauty, cosmetic commercials and stuff still today. Today, Akhenaten is remembered for trying to introduce monotheism to Egypt. Monotheism means only one god, and in this case, it was Aton. After his reign, Egypt returned back to their old gods. Ramses II. He went to the throne at age 20 and reigned for 67 years. Ramses is remembered for constructing many archaeological marvels like the pyramids. Ramses also had many military victories. He was a winning pharaoh in war, and he needed to be because he was around for 67 years. Ramses not only excelled in architecture, but he also had a great number of wives. Remember, at this time, you could have more than one wife if you were the pharaoh. By the end of his life, Ramses had over 100 children. Could you imagine all those birthdays? You'd have to remember them all. Oh my gosh. Tutankhamun. This is the one a lot of people know about, King Tut. King Tutankhamun came to the throne at a very young age. When his father died, believed to be Akhenaten, he became king at age 10. 10. That would be like a fifth grader running the United States. Okay? Insane, crazy. King Tutankhamun helped restore Egypt's old beliefs from when his father tried to make Egypt a monotheistic society. He died suddenly at the young age of 18 by a blow to the back of the head. Since his tomb had not yet been made, he was laid in the tomb of a member of a nobility. So all the other pharaohs, they'd want to have like a really big tomb. So all of these pyramids are like, they would have been full of gold and riches buried with the pharaoh. But there was this group called tomb robbers, and they wouldn't need a treasure map because the pyramids were the biggest things built for like thousands of years. So they would just go in there and try to steal and loot all the treasure. But King Tut didn't have a tomb made yet, so he was buried with somebody else in a secret location. It's called the Valley of the Kings. There's a bunch of different pharaohs buried out there. Well, King Tut is buried there, and he is famous today because his tomb was found by archaeologists, not tomb raiders. Some say it was the most important archaeological find because we find a ton of artifacts and a ton of different things that are super important for our history. By finding King Tut his tomb, we found things that would propel our knowledge of Egypt 10 times than what we had before. We found scripts and scriptures, we found artifacts that really helped us. Well, that's a little bit about the pharaohs. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and most importantly, I hope that you learned something new about something old. All right, everybody, I hope you have a great day.